If you or someone you love is facing chemotherapy, my hope is that this video will be useful for you and for them. In 2021, I was given a 20% survival rate and a colon cancer diagnosis. As a clinical psychologist, I thought I understood wellness until my experience with chemo changed everything. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I was handed chemotherapy pills with words that meant cell death printed on the label. The instructions were paradoxical. Don't put these pills in your hand. Don't put them in a cup that somebody in your home might use. But yes, swallow them. My initial reaction was fear and uncertainty. How could something so toxic be helpful? But I discovered a powerful approach that I believe not only made my treatment more effective, but transformed my whole cancer adventure. Today I'm sharing the 3 specific techniques that help me align my system and work with the medicine rather than fighting against it. Something that could change your relationship with chemo or any medicine you're taking. My cancer adventure happened suddenly and out of the blue. One day I was unwell, and within the week I was having emergency surgery to remove a section of my bowel with a blockage that turned out to be stage 3 colon cancer. When pushed, my oncologist told me that this form of cancer at this stage of advancement had a 20% survival rate. I was in shock. I'm a clinical psychologist. I work with energy. I know mental health. I'm good with nutrition. I've got a wonderful partner and family and friends. I live in a beautiful place. I had a lot of resources, and still I was terrified. I did a lot of crying and thinking about dying. To be honest, I moved in and out of the shock and struggle throughout the whole process. But I also recognised that I was on a big learning adventure, and I began to follow the breadcrumbs into this deep dive into vibrant health and cancer recovery. I realised my system was in conflict. Parts of me really didn't want to put toxic chemicals in my system and were fearful of the impact of that. Other parts knew that chemo was a big part of my healing. The figures spoke for themselves. 20% survival with chemo and just 5% without. As a psychologist, I know that when we're in conflict, it puts a lot of strain on our system and it's hard to move forward. For me, the conflict in my system and the fear and uncertainty was not an optimal way to face anything, let alone the biggest challenge of my life. In the next part of this video, I'm going to share what I learnt to bring my system back into balance, to align it with the benefits of the chemotherapy and minimise any challenges. The 3 core aspects of this are moving from inner conflict to conscious choice and alignment, visualization, and gratitude. In my therapy practice, I support people to work with all parts of themselves, to listen to the young parts that are often more fearful and carrying the uncertainty and the challenges from early life. I realised I needed to do the same. Whilst a big part of me was choosing to take the chemo and knew it was in my highest good, there were other parts of me that did not want this at all and were pushing against it. I felt the conflict in my system could limit the benefits of the chemo and could actually increase the side effects as my body was getting mixed messages, leaving it unsure exactly what to do with the chemo as I ingested it. Greet it as an ally and utilise it, or treat it as a threat and protect against it. I used energy techniques to calm the fearful parts of myself. This helped me clear away the fear. Then I could move into making a conscious choice. I recognise that choice is a moment-by-moment activity, not a one-time decision. So prior to taking the pills or getting hooked up to the infusion, I went inside, spoke to all parts of me and reminded them that we were choosing this treatment in this moment and that we could change our mind at any point in the future. I spoke with my body and acknowledged the parts that were unsure, and used mantras such as, even though there are parts of me that are unsure about taking the chemo, there are other parts that know it's in my highest good, and I align my system with this conscious choice to take these pills at this moment in time. I use visualization all the time in therapy. It's a really powerful tool used by top athletes and musicians to optimize their performance on the day. I learned to use visualization to support my system. Firstly, I would visualize the pills or the infusion entering my system in a golden channel, directly targeting the cancer cells and avoiding any healthy cells on the way. I also used visualization with metaphors such as weeding or mining out the cancer cells, and the old school phone game of snake, with the snake eating the cancer cells from my body. It's my strong belief that these visualizations help my system work with the chemo as medicine rather than fighting against it as invader or threat. The third strategy I used was connecting to gratitude. There's a lot of fear around when you have cancer. People are scared. I was scared. And fear is a low frequency. It's no good denying fear. It's a part of being human. And pretending it's not there just pushes it out of sight and out of awareness. But connecting to higher frequencies when we can throughout cancer recovery is important. Gratitude has a very high frequency, and connecting to gratitude can lift us out of fear, even if just for a moment. Language is also powerful, and different words have higher or lower frequencies. I connected with gratitude around the chemo and changed my language from toxic chemo to sacred medicine. I brought thanks to all the professionals who were working to find and improve treatments for cancer, and all those that had helped me and been involved in my cancer journey. Accessing this state of gratitude prior to swallowing the pills, I believe, allowed me to receive them differently and moved me from resistance to receptivity. Fear can also leave us feeling we need to protect ourselves and move our language into battling or fighting. For me, I believe the cancer was a part of me, and that fighting is never the answer. I believe that when I was able to flood the cancer with the highest frequency of love, I was able to start moving forward into health. I feel our bodies are so much more powerful than we could ever imagine, and we're barely starting to work with their full potential. My experience of aligning my system, moving from inner conflict to conscious choice, visualization and gratitude really helped me. Rather than the dominant story of chemo being cumulative and side effects getting worse over time, I found that my side effects actually lessened over time as I learned to work with body, mind and energy. These experiences have changed my relationship with all medicine and in fact any toxins I encounter. There were profound gifts for me in this journey. None of us want to experience health challenges, but sometimes they are the only way that we will slow down and really deeply listen. It's challenging to hear, but I do believe there can be gifts hiding within every life shock. No one thing is the total answer to health, but I believe we all do better with a both and approach. I learnt to make the best of all that Western medicine and Eastern treatments offered. And I believe both are more useful when we clear the fear and uncertainty and learn to align our systems and receive the benefits. If you feel there might be benefits to applying these techniques to any medication you're taking, I suggest starting small. Please keep working with your medical professionals. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology, not an oncologist, and I share my experience in the hope that it will support you and your treatment and not replace it. I suggest using EFT, emotional freedom technique, to tap on fears, doubts and challenges, because a lot comes up when you get a cancer diagnosis, and EFT is a powerful way of acknowledging and working through these issues. I never suggest minimizing, ignoring, denying, pretending you're okay. It's okay to not be okay. If you would like to start with phrases that I found useful, I would get myself comfortable, take a few breaths to settle, and say something like, I align myself to receive and work with this medicine, to maximize any benefits and minimize any toxicity. I direct this medicine to target any cancer cells and avoid any healthy cells. I receive this with deep gratitude to all that have been involved in its research, production and delivery, and bring thanks that I am able to access this now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I take the medicine and visualize it traveling down a golden channel through my body and directing to the cancer. I thank my body for working with the medicine and tune into what I need now. So thank you for staying with me as I share my learning. I hope that this is useful for you and your loved ones. Nothing is right for everyone, so please take anything useful and ignore the rest. I hope that this has inspired you to listen more deeply to the wisdom of your body and work with it in partnership rather than resistance. I found that aligning my system, moving from inner conflict to conscious choice, visualization and gratitude were key aspects of my dance with chemotherapy, and I really hope there's something useful for you here. Please share this video with anyone who might also find it useful. Let me know how you get on and ask any questions. If you want to know more about my adventure with cancer, I recorded a video with Dr. Laurie Hobbs, and I will put the link below. Beyond anything, I want us all to know that we have wisdom inside that will guide us if we listen. Many thanks. I'm Dr. Coral Westaway, the energy psychologist.